Chance to play a game in. You know, this is my first time here. 22 years being an assistant coach. This is one of the places I dreamed about coaching in. And what a great atmosphere. You guys have great fans and obviously a great team and a great coach.
Questions for Nate?
Nate, how did it go for you? What did you think of the whole experience?
It was fun. Obviously, when you're a player, you want to play against the best people, and that's what we got to do tonight. Coach gave us a good game plan, and we executed for 30 minutes, and it just got away.
Coach, can you talk about this?
I'm sorry. Any questions? Any more questions for Nate?
Nate, can you talk about the general chippiness of the game? You know, some of you guys are drawing back and forth a little bit.
This is my guy. This is my guy from BU that's asking that question.
No, much just basketball. I mean, a lot of guys like to play that way. It's fun. You got to control yourself sometimes, though. Can't let get technical and stuff like that. But that's about it.
Nate, how much do you guys play zone normally?
We like to mix it up. Sometimes makes and go zone, misses will go man. But we probably had to tonight. They're so deep. But worked a little bit tonight.
Nate, did you watch the Kansas-Kentucky game? And what kind of impressions do you have of Kentucky coming into this game tonight? And are they different now?
No, they're the same. Tough team, really deep, well coached. In my opinion, it's hard to get a lot of players to play within that kind of system. And I mean, it takes a lot out of those guys to do that. And it showed tonight. They played together. They stuck with each other, and they finished the game out.
Anything else for Nate? All right, thank you, Nate.
Coach, can you talk about the zone and how effective you thought it was?
Well, you know, I think it's one of those things when you go into a game like this. They're so long and deep that at some point they're going to get comfortable playing against it, and then you gotta make some adjustments. You know, I thought they did a great job in the second half of they got maybe 3 lob dunks, and then they were able to throw it in. It seemed like each time down the floor, inside to Towns, and he was able to use his strength and size to score at will on us. So, you know, I knew at some point they were gonna be able to figure it out, and then we're gonna have to make an adjustment. And obviously, there are only so many tricks that you have up your sleeve to keep you in it when you're playing a team this good.
What did you think, Coach, about number 1, Devin Booker's play,
Oh, he's a
especially
terrific
in the
player.
second half?
Yeah, and the thing is this, like, you know, they have so many guys that someone's going to get hot. You know, they're so good. You know, and I thought Nate's description of their team is so on point. I think the hardest thing when you have so many great players is to get them to play as a team. And even though it was a close game, they were playing as a team. And you can win big playing that way. You can't look at the score for them and say, well, you know, BU hung around for, you know, it was a 5-point game at halftime. You know, those guys played as a unit the whole time, and it's the reason why they were able to break it open in the end. All the credit goes to them. My hat goes off to Coach Cal. That's not an easy thing to do.
What did you do offensively in the first 30 minutes that you may not have done in those last 10 when you got away from the guys?
Well, nothing that we didn't do. I thought it was more on the defensive end than it was on the offensive end. You know, we didn't come up with any stops. You know, if you watch the first half, we got enough stops to generate some shots in transition. We're a terrific 3-point shooting team. We have a lot of guys that can shoot them. And so in the second half, you know, we didn't come up with enough stops. You know, they were able to kind of pick apart the zone, and then they got into that press, and then we didn't attack the press well enough, and we couldn't generate shots that way. You know, once we got the ball to half court, they weren't going to let us run anything. You know, so we had to just kind of drive the ball to score, be aggressive, and if they stepped up, try to kick it. You know, it's not how we want to play in terms of playing so one-on-one, but we really didn't have a chance to run anything. They're just too big and long. And we hadn't seen that kind of pressure before. So it was just one of those things where if I feel like we got some stops, we might have been able to keep it a little bit closer.
Coach, there was a lot of talk on the Kentucky side yesterday about defending the 3. You guys hit several threes several times with smaller guys hitting it over much taller guys. Why were you guys able to do that?
Well, we have a good basketball team. You know, I think we lost so much from last year. Here's a team that last year's team won 24 games, won away from the school record, was regular season champs. We lost 5 of our top 7 guys from that team. And now we bring back 4 guys that played minutes, 2 starters, and really only 4 guys that played at all. Then we have a couple of transfers and freshmen. And so we have a pretty talented team, but we're just we're really kind of figuring ourselves out right now. I think we're a little bit more talented than probably what we thought. I think we're a little bit better than what we probably thought. And I like our future. This is a game that I think we're going to be able to look back on and see that we grow. The thing that I'm really impressed with is that we never quit in that game. You know, we didn't bow our heads. We kept fighting. We kept going after them, and we just played against a better basketball team than that.
Coach, you've been around the block a long time. How often?
Why do you got to say that? Why do you got to say I've been around the block? I'm still a young guy, man.
How old are you?
Oh, please. I'm not going to tell you that.
Younger than him.
How often, Coach, how often have you seen this much talent on one team?
You know, never. We played Duke when I was at Villanova. That's the year they had Jason Williams and Carlos Boozer and you know, Duhan was their 5th starter, and he's still in the NBA. I mean, they just had a tremendous team back then. Shane Battier, I mean, they were loaded. But they didn't have the size and length and girth of this team. This is you know, people are talking about that this team could beat the Sixers, and they're as big as any, you know, some of the professional teams. You know, I've never seen a team this big and this long, and their willingness to play together is what I'm really impressed with. I think they got a chance to get better and better, and that's the scary thing, is that they got a chance to get better and better.
Coach, you touched on this a little bit over here, you're right. You lose a lot of players from last year's team, and yet it never looked like your guys, despite the surroundings of the opponent, were intimidated at all. To what do you attribute that?
Well, you know, hopefully we talked about that at great length. You know, we wanted to play fearlessly. You know, we just wanted to play fearlessly. We wanted to lay our bodies on the ground. And, you know, we knew that if we didn't, they were going to take it to us. So we just wanted to stand up. You know, sometimes you get cornered in an alleyway. You know, you got nowhere to turn. You got to stand up and fight. And that's what we want to do tonight. And that's what I think our team did. We just obviously weren't good enough to do that. But, you know, we have some guys that I think have played at a pretty high level in AAU in high school. They don't seem to be intimidated. They think they're pretty good, you know, and I like that about our team.
Coach, Kentucky, 3 days ago, of course, they had the big game against Kansas. I'm wondering if you felt like you were catching them at a good time.
Yes, you know, I hope so. I was using everything I could at my disposal. You know, now that you say I'm around the block, I was using some of those tricks. You know, so we talked to them about that. You know, obviously, you know, I coached at BCS level schools, and I thought it was always hard to get up for a game like this when you had such a big game and they played so well in that game. And I was, you know, I was getting texts from my son and my daughter and my wife asking me what I was going to do, you know, in this one. But I used the Buffalo game, I think, as motivation and as confidence, because I think Buffalo came in and really fought and scrapped and weren't intimidated. You know, I liked what I saw from them, and I thought we were more like a Buffalo than we were like a Kansas. I think college basketball and basketball in general is all about matchups, and I thought that we could, because we're a little bit smaller, we shot the 3 pretty well. I thought we could hang in. Kansas is a team that's going to match up very similarly to Kentucky, and I think that's the thing that's going to catch people when they play against this team. If they're kind of used to playing inside out, you're not going to have that kind of success against a team like this. You know, you're going to have to play smaller, I feel like, in order to overcome some of the advantages that they have. And I thought Kansas is just completely different than us.